All right, guys. So a little update on the wagon. Kind of been working on it. Nothing real exciting to video. I don't know. So got all the plumbing and stuff done on it. Got the wastegates in. Blow-off valves are both in. Still got to figure out what I'm going to do with air filters. So they're going to be really tight. I'll show you. So basically, we got to get an air filter on here, but this thing's really close here. I think I can get it to go over a little bit. I might have to actually reclit this tube and move it over some more. But if I can get like a flat pancake filter in here, or just doing a little curved adapter off here, that's all I really need. I don't want to run, they make just the screens that pop over this, but I'm gonna be driving this thing a lot. If we were just drag racing it, that's all I would do. I'd put the screens on there because you're not gonna be in a bunch of dust. But since we're not, then I want to get a filter on. I'm gonna be driving this thing a lot. So this is where we're at. If you see, oh man, it's gonna be kind of tough to see with the camera, I think. Let me turn the light on. So if you see down right here, that's where the exhaust comes out. It's 3-inch. And it goes down, and it has to make a sharp curve back that way and a sharp curve back down. And boy, it was tough. I had a heck of a time getting that thing off there. So it was a bear. We had to go around the steering box, cleared the headers, and then cleared the side of the block, and it was tight. So we got it though. I got it. Took a little while, but we made it happen. So that's where we're at. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't remember what I showed you guys last. I know I've had some work done on it since I've done a video on it. Like I said, nothing too exciting going on here. So I don't video a lot on this car because I don't know. It's nothing I feel that's great, but just a lot of work and a lot of time. So but this exhaust here, it's nice and easy. It's right here, straight down in. It's got one little curve down, halfway down, and then it curves out flat in the bottom. But other than that was simple. That one took me, I don't know, I did that one in less than 20 minutes. So that was nice. The other side, on the other hand, whew, about a day in that one. So, just trying to cut and refit the exhaust at all the different angles and stuff, it was a bear. So I think where I'm at, I'll show you underneath while we're here, but I think where I'm at now is, I believe, I don't know, it's late in the day now, and I'm gonna work on that little four-wheeler just a little bit this afternoon. But I think probably tomorrow I'm gonna yank this engine back out. I gotta clean the shop up a bit. I've got a disaster again. So I think in the morning I'm probably gonna bring the dumpster in, clean the shop up, get everything laid out, and get some room, make some room to pull this thing out of here. So we got to get the engine out. I need to get the engine painted. I want to do all the painting on it, and then I need to change the water pump. I put the it's got a truck water pump on it right now, but I bought a F-body water pump for it. So if this thing goes up, so the outlet tube for the radiator on the F-body pumps is right here, out the front. And if you look, they got a boss up top here. Well, the boss up top here is where the truck water pump comes out, or the truck water neck comes out, not water pump. So what it does is it gets in the way of my turbo tubes and stuff. So this one comes out the front, perfect. So we're gonna put that water pump on. That will give us room for our upper radiator hose and all that stuff. So that'll make life a little simpler. And then if I had to, I could have machined the new snout that come out of that pump, and it would have worked. But the engine had 140,000 miles on it, so does the water pump. Time to change it anyway. So if we're gonna change it, we'll just go to one that's already will work for it. If it was a new water pump that I had for it and realized I had a problem, I would have just machined something else for it. We wouldn't have bought a new one. But I figured it was time. 140,000 on it, time to buy one. So anyway, let me show you what we got here. So if you can see that exhaust, Comes down through there. Like I said, it curves up the top. I don't know how well you can see this. I'm trying. Curves down off the turbo, curves across here, makes another curve back down here. And then I had to put a V-band clamp here because you cannot get this exhaust out of here if I didn't put a V-band clamp here. It never would have came out. So no way. That thing has to turn like 4 different directions. It has to do almost a complete twist to come down out. So we would have never got that. This side, pretty simple, you know, right off the turbo, right down here. And then here's the cross member we made for it. Just a very simple, very simple setup. The exhaust will come right over top of the cross member on both sides. And then as we come back on this thing, here's the problem with this car is I want to put air on this car and get it kind of low, but I'm not going to be able to get it real low because I don't know if you can tell on the camera or not, the floor's pretty flat here, and then it's got a hump that drops where the back seats are at. I really wish it had not had this big hump in here because I could have ran my exhaust straight back and they would have been plenty tucked up far enough. But now I've either got to drop the exhaust under this floor and then it goes back up right here. You know, if they just kept that height the whole way, it'd have been simple. Yes, I can cut this out and do all that, but I don't want to do that on this car. It's not what I have planned for this car at all. I don't want to get that deep into it. This is an engine swap and that's it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the drive shaft in. I'm not going to finish the exhaust right now. I'm going to get the drive shaft in, know where it goes, and I'm going to try to run that exhaust as tight to the drive shaft up on this corner as I can. And then I may just take and massage this corner back in. Like come right around here and knock that thing in. I got to look inside and make sure there's nothing I'm going to hit or mess up or even see it inside. But we should be able to massage that back in enough where I can get the exhaust down here, you know, right next to the drive shaft. It'll be tight, just keep it as close to the drive shaft as I can and then go that route. But I don't know. It's gonna be snug. It's gonna be really snug through there. But that's what I want to do, you know. I don't know. I don't want to cut the floor out if I don't have to. Like this car, I shouldn't even have got this deep in this car. I should have just throw an LS in it, not turbo it, not nothing. But man, it's going to be so cool with a couple turbos in there and making big horsepower. And like I said, we're going to try to leave it quiet, so it'll be a great sleeper. You won't expect it with this one. So anyway, just an update of where I'm at, and you know, a lot going on. I'm kind of bouncing all different directions right now, and I really want to get settled back into a routine with you know, working on Johnny Ringo and that 34 Ford pickup back there needs finished. You know, I have a couple guys very interested in that truck, and I really need to get it done. And you know, but also I want to get my car done for summer. I don't know. So I call them my cars, but honestly, everything's for sale. I'll sell it, but I don't know. These are supposed to be mine. We'll see. So anyway, that's where we're at. I'm going to stop yapping right now and I'm gonna get back to work. I got stuff to get done, and summer's coming, man. I want to take these things out and play. So all right guys, just wanted to give you a heads up, and we'll get that engine popped out of there tomorrow. We'll get some more video. All right guys, I'm out. All right guys, working on the wagon again. I got the engine out of it. So, you know, we got everything kind of mocked up that we needed on all the boost tubes, intercoolers, turbos, turbo piping. Got the exhaust set up. The one side was really difficult. You know, we had to turn this way, and then back just to get around the steering box, the headers, the block of the car. It was a pain. So I got it. So that took a while, but anyway, all that's mocked up, so I yanked the engine back out. I got to go do some finish welding on the motor mounts. I got most of that welded up, but there was a couple places that I added supports in, and I couldn't get into them to weld with the engine in. Not very easy anyway. So I figured I'd just wait till I yanked the engine back out, because I knew I was going to have to take the engine out because I need to paint the engine. You know, when we went through that whole engine, I didn't paint it before we dropped it in because I didn't want to scratch it all up while we were mocking up headers and turbo piping and stuff. So just easier to, you know, pull the engine back out, get it all cleaned up, and then do it, and then drop it back in one shot when we're done. So that's what we're going to do today. You know, like I said, engine's out. No engine, empty. Engine on engine stand, all tore apart again. So what I'm going to do is I need to change the water pump. Like I mentioned in the last video, we're going with an F-body water pump because this neck is right in the way of my hot side on my turbo. Or not the hot side, the cold side, the pressure side. So I'm lying to you. So I need to put the F-body water pump on, so we're going to do that today. And then we're going to show you how I'm going to actually mock the turbos up on the engine stand. We're going to, you know, I'm going to put the headers on it. I'm going to put the turbos on it. I'm going to get, you know, the hot pipe and everything on. And then we're going to figure out where we want to put all the oil pressure lines, the oil return lines, where all that's coming from. I'll show you all that. You know, if you follow it along, like I said, this is the first stuff I've messed with turbos. You know, this car and Johnny Ringo, this is the first turbo stuff, so I'm new to it. You know, I'm learning as I go too. So, you know, I figured just easier to bring it out of the car. We're going to drill and tap the pan for the oil return. And then I have a block off plate coming today. And what we'll do for oil pressure is right here. We'll pick that up. We'll pick oil pressure up right off of these. Apparently, from what I've seen, is, you know, the oil pressure comes from the pump, pushes down through here, goes down into the filter or what have you, and then out of these, and this pushes oil pressure back up the top of the engine or what have you. Yeah, something like that. So from what I've seen, but anyway, I was going to make my own block off plate here and come out and machine it and put a couple of 1/8 inch pipe taps in it. And then I got looking on Amazon, and I can buy the dang thing for 16 bucks. So we're not going to get into machining a block of aluminum that I can buy for 16 bucks. Not happening. It would probably take me 2 hours to make that thing. So I'm just waiting on that. It'll be here today. But you know, we got a lot of other stuff to do before that. So I'm going to get busy on this thing. I'm going to get this all taken care of today. And then we got a 4L60E here to come out of my buddy's 70 Chevelle. He's got a supercharged LS in it, and they burnt this thing up. And it's supposed to be built. It does have a billet servo inside of it, so somebody's been in it. You know, it's been rebuilt. It's been a little bit of performance at least anyway. But we're gonna get that thing apart. I'm gonna probably rebuild it. We're at least gonna get it apart tomorrow, you know, if not later on today. So we'll get that thing apart. We'll show you what's inside that 4L60E. They're pretty simple transmissions. I've done a billion of them. But hopefully it's got some good, expensive parts inside, and I don't have to buy them. Because, you know, it's going to take quite a bit to get this thing to hold up to, you know, 650, 700 horse. And that's not at the wheels, that's at the crank. But still, that's a lot of horsepower on a 4L60. So hopefully it's got some good stuff in it. And, you know, we're not running slicks on it, so we don't have to worry about really breaking shafts much. But I don't know. We'll see. That's where we're at right now. I'm going to get started pulling this water pump off, get it swapped around, get the front accessory drives back on it. Or I may not even put the front accessory drives back on. I might just wait on that, get everything else mocked up. That way I can paint it and then put the front accessory drives back on. I think we'll do that. So anyway, I'm gonna get back on this thing. I will let you know what we come up with. I don't know. I'll give you some, we'll probably do some high speed on it or something, but all right guys, I'm gonna get busy. All right guys, so I'm playing with these turbos and trying to get everything plumbed up for the oil lines, oil return, all that good stuff. And run into some issues. We bought the cheap oil line kits and return line kits for the turbos themselves. So it come with a AN10 fittings for the return. You know, That's, to me, that's way too big. It didn't need all that, but you don't want any restriction on the return, so that's fine. But so I loaded these into the pan. You can see there, loaded those right in. I'm not the best aluminum welder in the world, but making it happen. So that's a 10 a.m. fitting, and you know, it would have been much easier to put it in the back of the pan, much more room. But the thing is when this returns back, you don't want any kind of restriction. If we put it back here, there's actually going to be oil back in here. So up here, there's kind of no oil laying there. It's just what splash, and then it runs down the pan back into your sump. So I feel it's better here. It'll come out with no restrictions. You don't have to worry about oil splashing, giving it a hard time, but probably wouldn't matter really. But I felt like it was better there. So that's what I did with it. Then I got my block, my aluminum block for back here. There's the aluminum block. Ooh, I dropped it. It goes right on there. There's two 1/8" pipe plugs in the bottom of it. So this is where we'll get our oil pressure feed for each turbo. Each turbo will come out of one of these. You know, that just bolts right on there. Like I said, I could have machined one of these out, but this thing was $16. Coming with O-ring on the inside, it'll be fine. It's nothing, you know, I don't think it'll be an issue at all. Should work fine. So we got to plumb all that up. The far turbo on this side, this line here is not going to be quite long enough to go clear across. It's got to go clear across and either behind, you know, the transmission and down, or under the pan and across. And it's just not going to make it. You know, so I ordered new lines and new fittings and stuff for that to get a little longer. This side is plenty long enough. It's actually too long, but you know, I'd rather it be too long than not long enough. So we're okay there. The kit that I bought, you know, let me show you here. So on this turbo, right here, it's got a little flange and a little 4AN fitting goes on there. So on the other side of the turbo, where it comes out, if you can see that, it's just got a threaded hole in it, which is right here. And I assume this threaded hole was probably like 1/8" pipe thread or something, and it's not. It ends up being 7/16 24, like you see on a brake line, like a brake line fitting. Stupid. I don't know. I have no idea why you would ever do something like that. Why wouldn't you just make it an 1/8" pipe? But anyway, the kit that I bought comes with, let me see, it comes with this adapter right here, which is for a 2-bolt flange. Didn't realize that when I bought it. I bought the wrong thing. So, whatever. So now I gotta get fittings and adapters to go from this little 7/16 24, and it's gotta actually adapt up to a 10 AN fitting to get these hoses to go on. I mean, it don't need a 10 AN, but I already have all the fittings and the hoses for 10 AN, so we're just going to adapt it up. So I found an adapter that will go from this 7/16 24 thread up to a 6 AN. That was the biggest I could find. So then I bought an adapter that goes from 6 AN to 10 AN. So hopefully that'll get us through what we're doing here. Without me having to buy all new, like, I think probably a 6 AN fitting would have been absolutely fine for it. So, you know, but I didn't want to have to buy all new fittings and all new hoses again. That stuff gets expensive. So that's where we're at. We're gonna have to make up fittings. We're gonna have to make up new lines on some of this. So that's why I figured it was easier to set this up with the engine on the engine stand, because it's going to be a whole lot easier to deal with instead of being down in that car and stuff. So I think I know what I need now. That stuff should be here in a couple days. I just ordered it, so I think 2 days Amazon, and so we can't really finish that up right now, but at least I got it all together enough that I know what I need. And I got the pan, the fittings welded in the pan, and I did one of them on both sides. So You know, so we did the one on that side for this turbo. Come around, we did one on this side for this turbo on this side. So, you know, they each have their own oil drains and stuff. So those are all done. Really everything else now I can do with it in the car. I don't have to, you know, the only thing I couldn't do in the car was actually weld in fittings in that pan, but now that they're done, everything else can be done in the car itself. So I think where I'm at now is I'm going to pull this stuff back off, and I'm gonna get this engine painted up. Not sure if I'm gonna paint the water pump the same color as the engine. So I'm just gonna paint the engine the same color as the original engine that was in it, which was the, like a seafoam greenish color. So basically the seafoam green color on these Oldsmobiles, from what I've read, is low compression engine. Basically low horsepower, low compression engines. It was a 394 in this. So 394 that was painted the seafoam green was low compression, low horsepower. Mine had a 2-barrel on it. I'm guessing all the green ones probably had 2 barrels. Buddy of mine has the same car. His got the red engine in it. The red engine is high compression, high horse, 4-barrel car. So kind of cool how they did things back then. You know, they changed the color of the engine for horsepower ratings and stuff, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, I'm going back with that green, you know, the seafoam green on it, just so when you open the hood you kind of just see a green engine. I don't really want it to stand out that it's an LS, but you know, of course everybody's gonna know. But I don't know, something different, you know. So that's the route we're going with that. So I think that's where I'm going right now. I think I'm gonna strip this thing back down, pull the headers back off of it, get everything masked off that I want masked off, and then I'm gonna shoot this thing with some color, and then we're gonna tear into that transmission probably tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll do it in this garage or we'll go in my front shop and do it, but I have transmission build benches and stuff in the front shop. My front shop's a disaster right now. Plus I have a couple transmissions on that benches, and so we may just do this thing right here in this shop. Biggest thing is keep oil from going everywhere. My benches have drains and stuff in them, but out here I don't have a transmission bench with drains, so I'm not sure. We'll figure that out tomorrow. But right now, that's where we're at. We're waiting for adapters and some different length lines and stuff like that. And, you know, this is the kind of stuff that holds you up when you get close to being done. Also, I don't know if we've talked about it or not, but, you know, I have HP tuners. I bought the system. Thought I would just do HP tuners on everything, because once you buy it, you know, it's only a couple $100 in credits and you can do engine, transmission, everything. And then tune it whatever you want. But I haven't learned HP tuners yet, and I know it doesn't seem too bad, but I think it's going to take me a while to learn it, especially with a turbo car, because of just pulling timing and adding fuel for each pound of the boost we go up. I'm not familiar with that stuff yet, so I've never done this. So with a turbo car, and I've never done HP tuners. So I've been studying it, I've been looking at it, I've been watching videos on it. There's a lot of really good stuff out there to watch. You know, guys explaining how they do it, but everybody does it a little different. So, you know, I've been watching a bunch of different stuff, deciding how I want to do it. But I think with this car, I need it out of here pretty quick. I need to get back on Johnny Ringo. I need to get back on this 34 Ford pickup. You know, I feel like I'm just wasting a lot of time with this car, a lot more time than I planned on. I probably should have just put a regular 5.3 LS in it and been done. I'd have had this thing done weeks ago. But so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the coin on a Holley Terminator X-Max. So it's going to be much simpler tuning, and I've looked at their tuning program, and it's really close to the tuning that I do on my four-wheelers, on my fuel-injected CRF 450 engines that we put in our race bikes. I've done a lot of tuning on that. I have a dyno for those. So I know that system, and the Holley system looks to me really close to the same stuff I already do on my four-wheeler stuff. So I'll be a little more familiar with the Holley, so I think it'll go quicker. Plus, I know the Holley does some self-learning and stuff like that, so that should make my life easier. So I think I'm going to go that route right now. I don't want to, because I don't like to spend any more money than I have to. I'm sure you've seen that by now, but so I think that's the route I'm going to go, because I have to get this car out of here. I've got to get back on this stuff. Had a guy come in yesterday that says he wants this 34 pickup that I have back here. Wants it, wants it, wants it. Okay, I've had a couple guys that want it, but this guy seems really interested, has the money. So that means I got to get my butt in gear and get that 34 done so we can sell it. You know, I'm not doing any good here, not making any money, not selling vehicles, just working on my own stuff. It doesn't pay the bills. So, and you know, things are tight, so we need to get on that 34 and get that thing built, get it sold to this guy. And so hopefully we'll get it done here in the next couple of months or something. That should be finished up, and I would like to maybe drive it for a month or so and you know, kind of get it out, run it around, make sure everything's good with it, take it to a couple car shows, show it off a little bit, and then sell it to him. And I think he's okay with that. He's really wanting to make it to a car show with it in September. Really wants to hit this car show we all go to, so that's not a problem. We'll have plenty of time for that, and I can even drive it for a month or so after I get it done. But yeah, need to get this car out of here. Like, it needs out. So soon, I'm telling you, this thing is going to be leaving soon, and not as soon as I like, because I keep running into little problems with having to order parts. So that's what I got for today. I'm gonna clean this thing up, get it painted, and then tomorrow we're gonna get this transmission tore apart, rebuilt, and hopefully all back together tomorrow, and start putting it on the engine, make sure the flywheel and everything's gonna fit, which it should, because 4L60 came off of this thing, so shouldn't be a problem there. Get a flywheel on it and get this thing back together. So, all right, guys, that's where I'm at right now. I'll keep you updated. All right, later. All right, guys, doing some work on this wagon here, this LS. You know, got the engine all out, got it cleaned up. We, you know, got the bungs and the oil pan stuff. Just threw some paint on this thing yesterday. Let it dry overnight. Got our new water pump on it. Now we're kind of bolting everything together. So, I mean, there she is. Went back with basically the original color that this engine was. I know we talked about it in the last video. But that's what she's gonna be. You know, getting the intake all set up on it. You know, 92 millimeter throttle body. Did an F-body water pump on it. What I had to do on this, though, for some reason, I don't know if it was a mistake through the manufacturer or if this is how they are, but if you see, this belt has to line up with this, and it didn't. This was in too far. So maybe the F-body's a little different. So I put my puller on it, and I had to pull it out. You can see it's just a little step. I didn't pull it that far, and it was still pulling really hard. So I don't think it's going to be an issue with it trying to slide off or anything like that. But yeah, had to do that. It was, you know, it was a little off. So it was going to basically sling the belt off of it if I left it the way it was. So fixed that. You know, so basically right now I'm going to mock these turbos and stuff back up. I had them mocked up before I painted the engine, but I had to order some fittings and stuff like that. So the fittings and stuff are all in, I think. I'm going to put the turbos back up on here. So my camera just cut out. I don't know what happened, but anyway, we're going to get turbos mocked back up on here. Get everything mocked up, all the drain back tubes, all the for the pressure for the oil mocked up. Make sure we have this set up before I put this engine back in the car. You know, I'm trying to do as much as I can, as much as I can think of anyway. The least amount that I have to actually figure out while it's in the car, the better off I am. So everything's easy to do on the engine stand. It gets tight down in the car. So if we can figure it out here, that's what we're going to do. Maybe even clear down to trying to figure out, you know, the plumbing on the wastegates and the blow-off valves and stuff like that. If we can do it right here on the engine stand, that way all we have to do is take it apart, we put it back in the car, put it all back on just like we had it here, just like mock-up. So that will save me a lot of hassle, a lot of time, a lot of bullshit. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to get this turbos on here, and I kind of show you what we look like with the turbos on, and we'll get some of this stuff mocked up.